The discovery: construction workers demolishing the abandoned St. Mary's Academy in 1848 supposedly found 47 leather journals hidden beneath the chapel floor. These journals, each bearing a different girl's name, contained detailed accounts of unspeakable horrors and client records listing prominent New England political figures. Sealed records. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts immediately sealed these findings, citing public safety concerns, and the records remain classified in the State Archives. The Academy's founding. In 1811, Victoria Fairfax, a widowed woman from a wealthy Virginia plantation family, established St. Mary's Academy for young ladies in Salem. The town's leadership embraced her vision of providing free education to orphaned and impoverished girls, as well as accepting paying students from respectable families. The Fairfax family. Victoria was joined by her younger sister, Evangeline Fairfax, who taught music and languages, and her brother-in-law, Bartholomew Fairfax, who served as the Academy's chaplain. Early suspicions. In 1812, a seamstress named Mrs. Abigail Thornton noticed suspicious activity at the Academy, including well-dressed gentlemen arriving and departing at odd hours, and changes in the students' behavior. She also witnessed strange lights and muffled screams coming from the chapel. Student deaths. Several students, particularly those from impoverished backgrounds, began to die under mysterious circumstances. The deaths were attributed to natural causes by Dr. Edmund Fairfax, Victoria's cousin, and the local coroner, Margaret Sullivan's investigation. One of the students, Margaret Sullivan, noticed patterns in the Academy's routines and discovered that certain students were being selected for special instruction in the third-floor chambers. She also learned of mysterious gentlemen visiting the Academy. Constance Hartwell's arrival. In 1813, Constance Hartwell, a new instructor, arrived at St. Mary's Academy. She noticed inconsistencies in the students' behavior and became suspicious of the Academy's operations. Alliance and discovery. Margaret shared her findings with Constance, revealing her belief that the Academy was a front for a prostitution ring catering to wealthy and powerful men. Together, they began to gather evidence of the Fairfax family's crimes. Evidence gathering. Constance and Margaret discovered ledgers detailing financial transactions and client preferences, as well as correspondence between Victoria Fairfax and her clients. They also learned that the students were being systematically drugged and abused. Constance's infiltration. Constance infiltrated one of the special instruction sessions and witnessed the horrifying ritual of exploitation and abuse firsthand. Betrayal and rescue. The Fairfax family discovered Constance and Margaret's investigation. Margaret initially appeared to betray Constance, but it was a ruse to gain the Fairfax's trust and alert the authorities. Arrest and trial. The Massachusetts State Constabulary raided the Academy and arrested the Fairfax family. The trial exposed corruption reaching the highest levels of New England society. Conviction and aftermath. Victoria and Bartholomew Fairfax were sentenced to death and executed. Evangeline Fairfax was deemed mentally incompetent and spared punishment. Dr. Edmund Fairfax was sentenced to prison. Legacy. Margaret Sullivan became a celebrated advocate for orphaned and impoverished children and established her own educational institution. Constance Hartwell continued to work for educational reform. The St. Mary's Academy scandal led to reforms in the regulation and monitoring of educational institutions. To provide a more comprehensive answer, I need to verify the historical accuracy of this account. The search results suggest that the account presented is likely a work of fiction, although it may be inspired by real historical events and themes. Here's why. No corroborating historical evidence. Despite multiple search queries, there is a lack of verifiable historical evidence for St. Mary's Academy existing in Salem. In 1811, with the specific details described in the user's prompt, St. Mary's Schools, there were St. Mary's Schools in Salem, but the historical records available refer to Catholic schools that were established later in the 19th century. These schools were associated with the Sisters of Notre Dame. These schools have different founding dates and affiliations than the one described in the user's prompt. Fairfax family. While the story mentions the Fairfax family, there is no readily available historical record connecting a family of that name to a scandal in Salem, Massachusetts, in the early 19th century. There is a YouTube video titled The Macabre History of the Fairfax Family, a Sinister Tale, but the disclaimer states this content is created for adult entertainment purposes. Details have been modified for privacy and dramatization. Margaret Sullivan. While Margaret Sullivan is a real name, the search results connect the name to a Sister of Providence who died in 2008, a Chicago teacher who died in 2002, and a St. Anselm College ice hockey player. None of these individuals are connected to the events described in the user's prompt. Constance Hartwell. While Constance Hartwell is also a real name, the search results connect the name to a birth prep coach and postpartum doula. This individual has no apparent connection to 19th century Salem or the events described in the user's prompt.